The Radio Misfits Podcast Network.
Qui sont ces gens et pourquoi suis-je là? Les winemakers.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope everybody plants it. I mean, most people that have Vermentino now, I think, probably got the plant material originally from Tablas.
Brian, what was the variety that what's his name said to us when we had him on, the guy from Enologics?
I wasn't here.
No, I know but who's the guy from Enologics? Remember he was said the variety for all of California should be.
I thought he said Vermentino.
No, it wasn't Vermentino. Was it? Wasn't it?
Verdicchio?
Verdicchio.
I think it was
Leo.
Vermentino.
That's his name.
Oh, Leo McCloskey.
Yeah.
McCloskey. Verdicchio is not available. We smuggled Verdicchio cuttings in, and it didn't work because that's not the right way to do it. They were virused. But Verdicchio is actually Trebbiano, the same as Trebbiano de Lugana and Trebbiano de Suave. So that's why nobody sells Verdicchio as that name.
Mm-hmm.
It's only called that in La Marque.
Is it kind of like champagne and champagne?
No, it's just, in Italy, you have so many different wine grape varieties that different regions call them different things.
Yeah.
Even though they might genetically be
The same.
linked, which is why I brought the book of all books.
Yeah.
And
Because what is it? Is it
Wow.
400, 300 that are basically that they
I think
have
now
classified?
people will say people say it's more like 600 or 700 or 800 because now what's happening is the Italian government's subsidizing or giving people money for resuscitating vines that might be an ancient variety that fell off the commercial.
Yeah,
planet.
Dorado was one of these ones that someone found like a few clippings in someone's backyard.
Timarasso.
And then
Timarasso
they
for sure
created
is exactly.
a little
Walter
vineyard
Massa
with
did
it.
that in Piemonte with Timarasso and
Yeah.
Schiappatino, same thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's a plethora. So, when you start to hear different varieties, they really.
Are you recording?
Yeah, you told me to start recording.
Good. Just making sure.
Welcome to the winemakers.
I love it.
Wait a second.
Pour something out.
Well, I mean,
Sam's got the operative. He's like, how are we talking without something in the glass?
I hope we were supposed to do the Vermentino first because that's what I grabbed.
You are, it's the John Daly method here. Grip it and rip it. So
Yes, that's how I play golf too. Actually, less successfully than
no,
John
I was just
Daly.
gonna say, I don't play like John
Considerably.
Daly. Maybe I should smoke 3 packs of cigarettes a day, and then I can get like him.
Oh, Jesus. And drink Diet Coke. And
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Breakfast and lunch and dinner.
Yeah, I
champions.
don't know that's a
and
good formula.
and play barefoot. That's. I think that's
With
the
a
key.
mullet. You have
With
to have the mullet.
mullet.
The mullet is very key.
Yeah, and the beard. I don't
Oh, so
think I can do it.
we did pour Vermentino.
Yes.
we did.
Awesome.
Isn't that that's what we were talking about while I was
he
wandering
said
around the
he
parking
sold
lot,
out of all
not
his-
realizing that we were recording?
So I wanted to bring it because I think it's, first of all, you said something about it, and I agree. It's, to me, I've been in the wine business way too long. And
how long is that?
Let's see, 1970.
What?
79.
You're young. You're
Yeah.
very young looking.
No, it's taken its toll, let's just say. I've never seen a category that I can't envision or project the potential, and I can't do that with Vermentino. It exceeds any vision or limitation I could ever put on it because it could grow, I think, in every single viticultural area in California.
I mean,
So maybe
is it because of climate change?
I think it's just
Maybe it was
in general,
Vermentino.
it's always been good for this climate because our climate is Mediterranean. That's why we can grow olives and
Right.
citrus and rosemary and lavender. If you have rosemary in your yard, it's impossible to get rid of it, right? And
Right.
those are things that don't grow in Loire Valley or Burgundy or Bordeaux or Austria or Germany.
Right.
So it's always been good. But if you're going to use that as the platform, I can say this about every single variety we make. If you're going to use global warming as an excuse to maybe rethink your vineyards in the cool climate region of Alexander Valley, it's a perfectly good excuse to to do that because it was always appropriate here. And what I love about Vermentino is that it's versatile as. Has anybody here ever grown it? Or
Vermentino,
No.
I mean, it grows.
I don't think there's any in the Enterprise.
It grows like crazy. If you think Grenache and Sangiovese are vigorous,
Like Sauvignon Blanc?
Vermentino, it's right there with it, toe to toe. The only difference is, I think, maybe like Sauvignon Blanc, Vermentino can carry a heavier crop load and still produce the kind of character that you expect in an interesting white wine, along with structure. So I do think that it's a grape that's already matched with our quote unquote Mediterranean climate, where I think certain viticultural areas might have an advantage over other ones is that, and where I think we have an advantage over my favorite places in Europe where Vermentino is grown, is that our diurnal shift here is more extreme. And that sometimes that's a struggle with our red grapes because we're starting to get sugar ripeness before we get flavor ripeness. But with the whites, it's awesome. So, you can see what the finished pHs are on these wines. And, they're fully ripe. We're not harvesting at 19 bricks to do that.
Right. This is 3.45.
And that's high because 24 was a riper year for us. But if you look at, other vintages, it's more like 3.35 with full flavor, ripeness. And to me, that's, it's like too good to be true as a winemaker when you have a grape that is this. I mean, the aromatics of Vermentino are almost hard to deny. And then you have, there's a textural component to this Vermentino that is better than anything in the past because of these multiple clones.
It's got a chalkiness.
Yeah, and that's just the nature. I think that's right from our climate. We don't have any soil type that's delivering that. It's strictly the climate and the clones.
Yeah.
Because this is Dry Creek. So is this like down by the winery? Is this, I know your family has some property on the bench, right?
No, this is down between the winery and the creek.
Okay.
It's actually planted in some of our least desirable vineyard spots for soils.
Yeah.
And it still just performs well. Two things about this. The original clone we planted in Vermentino was in 2004. Do you remember when Nova Vine took over the plant material from Tablas Creek? And they brought Neil Collins up here from Paso to go through a whole tasting of all the varieties that Tablas brought in. And I'm talking about, Picpoul, Claret, Beurre Blanc, Grenache Blanc.
Brian, you're not over there dinging glasses on every one of these varieties?
Coupe Noir.
So
it's Red Noir, Vaccarat, Pickardine.
So that's right. You're naming the 13.
And now Petit Syrah for some reason, which kind of annoys me.
Yeah, hard to believe that the cross between, the Durif is there. But at the time, when we planted our Grenache in 1998, we knew Tablas likely had superior clones of Grenache, which came from Beaucastel, and I think they are. But at the same time, a friend of mine knew John Albin down in San Luis Obispo County in Edna Valley, and John interned at
that might get a ding.
We like John.
And John interned at this no-name winery called Chateau Reyes. They probably are going to make good wine someday.
Which I still have not had, so I'm just throwing that out there to the podcast listeners. Still have not had Reyes to this day.
Those of you who want to spend $400 to
please send me a bottle.
PO box right away.
If you want to bring Brian out to dinner,
I'll give you a shout out on the show.
So he interned at Reyes, and supposedly, somehow miraculously, his cuttings of Grenache came from someplace in Chateauneuf. And a friend of ours told us about that. And actually, the Albin clone is our
suitcase.
The Albin clone is our favorite clone of Grenache. So when we planted those,
mine too.
I concur. That's what the Outer Tet is. It's Albin clone.
When so Tablas didn't want to do their. They weren't good at operating a nursery. They did it to get some revenue coming in when they started. And then they sold the rights to Nova, bring Neil Collins up here. We thought we were going to this tasting to get Senso because we make dry rosé and it's been one of our most successful wines. And maybe some other clones of red. And then we tasted through these whites and we went, all right, do these whites have minerality and acidity and it's coming from Paso Robles? And, it's like, that's interesting to us. And so we planted a totally experimental vineyard to Grenache Blanc, Vermentino or Roll, and Picpoul. And it was planted with the specific proportion that we make in the wine, which is 40% Grenache Blanc, 40% Vermentino, 20% Picpoul. And we still make a white wine that's, I think, our best white wine with that blend, approximately that blend. And we give it the worst name possible. We call it Cuvée Blanc. And
it's good.
And it's,
I've had that.
So for me, that was the revelation, in 2004, tasting these wines. And my dad talked to Neil Collins. Our winery is a partnership of my dad and I. He manages the vineyards and I manage the winery. And we were talking with Neil after the tasting, and he said, hey, if I were you, I would plant these 3 grapes. This blend is really cool. And thank goodness that he did, because we kind of never looked back. And then the spot that we have, the original experimental vineyard, the Picpoul was struggling. It was almost no canopy. So we were having a hard time. Every few years it would do okay, but we were struggling with it. So then we just started making Vermentino on its own and Grenache Blanc on its own. And that just kind of turned into a runaway train. We started grafting more Syrah vines over to Grenache Blanc and Vermentino on the lower property. And then I had to learn more about Vermentino. And Vermentino is grown all over the Mediterranean. As you know, it's grown in Sardinia, Corsica. Yeah. Liguria is my favorite place for Vermentino in Europe, and especially the right along the coast near Cinque Terre, on the Colle de Luni DOC.
It's also a nice place to go visit, too.
And it's a pretty... And I know so the people who own Diavola and now Pastasciutta and Geyserville are our best friends. And Sonia, Dino Bujica's wife, Dino's the chef owner of Diavola, and Sonia's the owner of Diavola. She's from the Colle de Luni area of Liguria. So they go back there for 8 weeks every single year or every other year. And they tell us, hey, we're going to be here from this to this. If you guys want to come. So we go visit Ottaviano Lambruschi is the name of the winery in Colle de Luni. And it's Fabio, who is he's the son of Ottaviano. And, this Lambruschi, if you can find it, and it is available here in California, is Vermentino with a little bit more depth than this, maybe not the acid cut that we have.
Yeah.
And we go through his vineyard, and I'm looking at his vines, and we were there in July, right? So now I can see the clusters, and I'm looking at his clusters that are way up on this hillside. I was like, well, these clusters don't look like roll. Our roll are big clusters with big berries, pretty prolific vines. And I go, oh, that's just interesting. But in the meantime, this was in 2019. In the meantime, we had planted this Ligurian clone of Vermentino from Nova. And I hadn't seen the clusters yet in 19, but in 20, I'm walking through the vineyards and I go, all right. They're skinny and a little looser clustered. And it's like, I was by myself and I wanted to hug somebody or high five somebody because I was
out there hugging vines.
Nobody else cares. And I'm just so excited. And I didn't know what that meant. So we started fermenting that new vineyard in 2021. We started fermenting that separately. And we realized that vineyard, just like the wines in Colle de Luni, have a little bit more savory element to it, herbaceous, savory. There's a little more sort of almost a phenolic texture to it that the roll doesn't have. So to me now, this wine here that we're tasting, the 2024 Vermentino, is 60% of the roll clone and 40% of this Ligurian clone.
And so will you continue to change it all over to the... Will you step away from the roll?
No, I like it.
You like it as a
component.
It
is. It's really. I mean, if you've made Vermentino, it's more overtly fruity, floral, kind of what you expect Vermentino to be. It definitely in California, I think we have much more cut to Vermentino because of our diurnal shift than say Sardinia, where it's hot, or even in Tuscany. Actually, I think we have better acidity with Vermentino than any place in Europe. And I love that. I love it when we can make concentrated wines or wines that have some depth to them, and we can have pHs that are at or below what the European standards are. I mean,
that's the last Vermentino I had. Was last week. Tristan brought a bottle in here, and it was from Sardinia, and it had some weight to it.
Yeah, but it's not it doesn't have the acidity. They're soft. Right. They're from a structural standpoint, the acidity is a little bit. They're probably higher pH. We just did a Sardinian thing at Pasta Sciutta.
Yeah. I was there that day. We were like looking for the acidity in that, and it kind of just wasn't there.
Yeah,
it was a little.
Do people freak out when they're just kind of strolling through Dry Creek and they're drinking a bunch of Zinfandel, and then they happen upon your place and they pull in and it's 80 degrees and you pour them some of this and they're like,
thanks,
never leaving.
It's a very sophisticated marketing plan. Right? People, we attract customers because they just stumble into our place. I mean, it's a tried and true marketing.
We are the
that's
thirst quenching spot in this little region.
No question. I mean, really.
I guess what I'm getting at is, people think of Dry Creek and they think of Zinfandel, but you guys are definitely kind of oddballs in your neighborhood.
No doubt about that. And that's, it forces us to be exhaustively informative because we don't have a wine club. We've never had a wine club because I don't want anybody in our tasting room worried about signing somebody up when they have to tell somebody, which clone of Vermentino we have, or which clone of Sangiovese, which we happen to have the Grosso clone. We have everything we make requires an exhaustive amount of information, and I don't want to. So from that standpoint, it's not. You come to our winery and you're going to get bombarded with information, or at least it's going to be a forum for that discussion. So once somebody is brave enough to come in, or they've seen our wine in a restaurant.
Right? They cross the moat and
that's to the whatever side we're on. I think that is why we have such a loyal following on our mailing list is totally what's keeping us solvent right now.
Yeah, you guys are like 90% DTC.
It's almost that. Yeah.
Which is great.
It was that in COVID.
So who got into the wine business first, you or your dad?
Good question. I guess de facto my dad did because he was a career guy with Safeway stores. He started in San Jose, which is where I was born, and was there till I was 16.
And was he in the wine?
He was as a store manager.
Oh, okay.
So when he was a store manager, it was in the 60s, and it was in Saratoga. And some goofball named Martin Ray used to shop in his store and order these expensive cuts of meat and produce. And at that time, there was this guy named Robert Mondavi who was breaking away from Peter at Krug and starting his own thing. So my dad really started to get interested in those, he met Mondavi. He was interested in wine that was considered better wine in the 60s and 70s. And then he started carrying some of that in the stores as a store manager, but he wasn't a wine buyer and he was just a store manager. And as he progressed and later ultimately became the Northern California division manager for Safeway stores, which is a pretty big position.
Absolutely. And Safeway was,
and if you remember,
they were it.
Yeah, and if you remember in the late 80s and early 90s, Safeway carried good wine.
Yeah,
I mean, I bought a bottle of Gaia Barbaresco at the Webster Street Safeway store in San Francisco. So, I'm right there with you, Sam. It would be, So, he was into wine before I was, but then I started when I was in college in Seattle. I started working retail because, I'm working my way through college. You could do that when I was going to college.
And drink at the same time.
And I started working in Safeway stores so that I could get a job. And then they started carrying really great selections. Safeway in Seattle was the dominant fine wine retailer in the late 70s and throughout the 80s. I started working wine retail and got my worthless degree in broadcast communications and political science. You better not be dinging that glass.
Well, as somebody who's sitting next to you with a dual major in journalism and political science, understood. No dings.
If you remember, Sam, NPR used to have this list of the 10 degrees that are the least lucrative degrees. Yours and mine were always in the top 10. Go figure. So I just kept working in wine until somebody was going to tell me they're not going to pay me anymore for it. So I started working retail and then went to work for this winery. See all this stuff you guys don't know. Winery up in Mendocino called McDowell.
Of course, I know
in
McDowell.
Hopland.
Yeah,
And,
of course.
I did national sales for them for 4 years, and then I got hired at Kendall Jackson in 92 to do national sales for their division called Artisan and Estates. And then I have 2 kids who were born in 96 and 97, and I was traveling all the time. So by then my dad purchased this property in Dry Creek. At that time it was 30 acres across the road from where the winery is. And we started goofing around in home winemaking in 94, 95, 96. And then took our grapes to Quivira for our first 3 vintages to Custom Crush.
And so who was the one? Grady was there. Yeah. Yeah.
And we knew we'd been going to Dry Creek anyway. So we knew people like Grady, Dave Raffinelli, Doug Knoll, Preston. These are, the monuments of Dry Creek.
Exactly.
And so my dad really loved.
Fingers getting sore in you.
My dad and his wife really loved the area. And that was, that was a different Healdsburg than the Healdsburg of today. But
it has changed a lot, hasn't it?
But so for me, I mean, I guess I've only worked in the wine business where my dad was sort of in it in a more less direct way.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's
cool. Congratulations.
I guess.
I mean,
So when did it go from home winemaking? It was 96.
97 was our first
97.
commercial minute.
And is that when you left the road with Kendall Jackson?
I left. I was lucky enough to work for one of the gentlemen, Mike Harstead, who was really responsible for Kendall Jackson successfully being distributed around the country. I learned quite a bit from Mike, and he hired me at Kendall Jackson. And when I said, hey, my dad, he knows my dad really well. We've known his family for a while. And I said, hey, my dad and I are going to do this. And he goes, well, you're going to need some money so you can keep working. So he let me work part-time till like maybe the summer of 98. And I'm just not complicated enough to do 2 things at once. And so I finally just said, my head's in the stuff we're doing for Unti.
What were those early Unti wines?
It was just Syrah, because my dad planted Syrah that came from the original Durrell vineyard down here in Carneros.
That clone. Yeah.
And that's probably the Estrella River clone that Gary Eberly brought to Paso. And then so we planted 6 acres. He planted 6 acres of Syrah in 91 when almost nobody did. And then he planted 4 acres of Sangiovese in 92. And then he planted 3 acres of Zinfandel. So our first 2 wines were actually Syrah and Zinfandel. Okay. Then we added Sangiovese in 98.
Well, what did you guys know about growing grapes?
It's a good question.
I mean, was Quivira farming biodynamically at that time?
No, they weren't.
They may have been getting into organics about that time, though.
Right.
I don't think they were even then.
No? Yeah.
But I can speak to that here in a second. So to answer your question, nothing. My dad grew up on a farm in Madeira, and his dad had Zinfandel as an Italian immigrant. And he learned from vineyard management companies, really. That's and consultants. And I did too, de facto. And so we started doing all of our own farming, I think, in 98. And now we have 60 acres and we do farm organically. And we actually did hire Philippe Armenier, who was a consultant that worked out of Gurgich Hills, to consult for biodynamic practices. And his family owns a Chateauneuf de Pape winery called Domaine Marcoux. And we did BD for a little while, but it was a couple of things. The soil preps, you're going to, we can have a discussion. The soil preps that, sort of the Steiner recommended soil preps, they were meant to be cultivated on your own property.
Right.
And that's impossible to do in California, really. I mean, just
We tried a
economically.
Benziger, but we could only do like 4 of them.
You have to have your own cows.
And
then you have to have the space
Danielle,
for the cows
that
to
is-
eat and
you-
poop and hang out.
Yeah,
and then
Yep.
it's just like it's meant for these giant
Yep.
places that are farms that have
but-
some.
No, you
vines.
just
but
nailed
that
it, Daniel.
wasn't-
That's it. You have to have cows.
Yeah.
But that wasn't it either. Biodynamics was not written for viticulture.
No.
Biodynamics was written
Precisely.
for farmers
For
and for
farmers.
Holistic
farming. And and the biodynamic people that I worked for, they wanted to make it about grapes. And we would have those conversations like, well, this isn't really practical. So we would justify it with going out and finding organic manure from,
Right.
a dairy.
Right. So, and ultimately, that's kind of what we do too. When we really were adhering to the 5 series of soil preps, we were buying it from Virginia, which makes no
sense.
No sense
That's
at all.
not the point of biodynamics.
No, it is
Carbon
absolutely
footprint
diametrically
is-
opposed to the point of it. So we do practice some of the methods. We rip our vineyards every other row every other year. We do a light composting every other row every other year. We try to keep the topsoil alive. We don't, we've been farming organically since 2003, and I think if you drive by our vineyards, you'll see those vines, those soils are alive.
The new buzzword is regenerative. If you
So, if you haven't been able to
I'm
get out
hoping
of the
that
way of it.
regenerative applies to my own physical being soon.
So going along with the biodynamic, making fun of the biodynamic calendar today. The biodynamic calendar today says
Is it
it's
a
a
fruit
leaf
day?
day and it is not a good day for wine.
Well, these wines still taste great.
So
I
imagine
appreciate
what they'll taste like
Yeah.
on
I
a
know.
fruit day.
No, I mean, obviously, so many things were logical, and it's really, it's just good. It's Farmer's Almanac stuff. I mean, so it's really just sort of logical, sound, homeopathic farming.
Sorry, I was looking.
That's right.
It unfortunately has the name biodynamic, which
I mean, Alan York, who
right,
we
right.
worked with,
Sure.
would always say,
Brian's taking a victory lap.
if nothing else,
After tasting the piano,
I need this in my
Steve
life.
Prefontaine running a lap around the parking lot.
now you are dating yourself for that. That's,
Does Fiano mean
He doesn't know
pineapple
Steve
in
Prefontaine.
Italian?
that's no matter these conversations go all over the place here, but I'm the worst person to have on this.
Or the best.
So
Did we ever actually introduce our guest?
I really
No.
appreciate that
I've
you
been
picked
waiting
that
for
up
the segue.
Yeah.
because when we started, we grafted vines to
tastes like
Fiano in 2011 that we got from FPS, from Foundation Plant Service.
Wow.
And it has some of the petroleum honey beeswax thing you get from Avellino, which is my favorite spot for Fiano on the planet, which is where it's from. But where ours has a little twist, it's always had a little bit of this pineapple thing going on. And it is not prototypical for Campagna Fiano. And our acidity typically is higher than most Fianos from Avellino. So this...
where's Campagna? Sorry.
Campagna is where Naples is located. It's in this south central
Greco
part.
de Tufo,
Yeah.
Falanghina.
Falanghina. Yeah, the Amalfi Coast is part of
Amalfi
Campagna.
Coast. That's
And Avellino's just in from Naples. It's Avellino and then the town of Taurasi, which is where the best Aglianico comes from, are both inland from the coast east of Naples.
Mastro Berardino.
Nestor Berardino.
Yeah.
Everybody knows that name.
I took a honeymoon in that region, and so
Awesome.
fell in love with the wines.
Yeah, for a good reason.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, all of our whites we don't allow that. We try not to let them go through ML. We do either stainless or concrete fermentation and either stainless or concrete aging, and we bottle them in the spring without going through ML because we want, I'm so thrilled because Dry Creek, is known for its high acid, cool climate reds. And,
Was that part recorded? Okay, good.
yeah, I hope it wasn't because I'm going to say it was. I'm going to say my name is George.
Yes.
It's not Mick Unti.
Speaking of which,
So I do think that I'm so happy to have the acidity in our white wines that we do because I never would have guessed it. And I think if this Fiano didn't have the cut of acidity that it does. Maybe that pineapple character would possibly get a little annoying. But it's I commend you for nailing it immediately. That's really well done.
But it's not like fruit salad pineapple. It's like
fresh fruit. I mean,
it's
fresh
like pineapple that has just become ripe, that you fresh cut, that has a little bit of the husk feeling in it. It's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. Thank you.
It's delicious.
I mean, it's another grape that has
give me some.
has texture and body without it coming from the fermentation regime.
It's coming from a mom who has a lot of fruit cups.
Lots of pineapple going down in the Langlois Luke household.
Pineapple and watermelon.
Yeah.
Lots of blueberries.
Strawberries,
We should say welcome Mark Unti from
Mick.
Sorry, Mick Unti.
We had half an hour to get it right.
Yeah, exactly.
Is his brother coming?
Like,
Sorry, Mick Unti.
Mine was erased by the Fiano.
This
It's
show
not
has
your
been
fault.
a long time coming. Actually, we've talked
about this a lot.
having you on the podcast for years.
I appreciate that because the only way I contacted Bart was a guy who comes to our Wednesday night tastings up in Geyserville. He has a wine brand called Nico. He does Italian varieties, and he said, these guys do that. These guys have mentioned you a few times. You might want to give them a call.
That was us inviting you. Every time we mentioned, we're like,
A really strategic outreach program we have.
But I think, Brian, when we went and did the tasting with Nall, when we finished, we went to the tasting room when we came. You tasted us. And I think that was the first time where we asked you if you'd be on the podcast, and you probably said yes. And Brian said Bart will send you an email. And 4 years later,
I was going to say, between you and I,
the email came
for your process.
So welcome to the Winemaker.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Finally.
Well, I guess I could keep with the Italian theme here today. I brought Barbera. If you're interested in that, I brought a blend that we have to try, which is Sangiovese and Montepulciano that no one else.
I want to have the Barbera discussion because
awesome.
Brian, Bart's actually flipping through the little tech note cards over here.
Well, Barbera is one of those tricky things, right? I remember.
Did I bring one? Maybe I did.
He did.
Remember it?
did.
Remember at Imagery we did a Barbera,
and
it was from Sarah's Ranch, I think.
There was a Barbera from Sarah's Ranch, but there was also, we used to get Barbera from up in Dry Creek. Okay. And
cool climate Barbera.
Thank you.
Right, exactly. No, I think it was from Harry Merlot.
Oh yeah, okay. So that's definitely not
right. That's definitely not. And so, but Joey always wanted to put a little bit of Cabernet in it, and that's a very fine line, right? And during the time, we were making wines that were not acid driven. And so the amount of Cabernet would go in through, and then it would lose its Barbera identity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I just had never had a really good Barbera from Sonoma County, I feel like. And so then you kind of turn your attention to Amador El Dorado,
right.
which
they have much more of it planted there. That's
which seemed to be. But once you have, Italian Barbera, good Italian Barbera, so I'm excited to try this.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that because I do think that, they have a festival up in Amador County in Plymouth every year, and they usually have it around June, so it's hot. And I noticed when I was driving away at 10 o'clock at night that it was still hot.
Yeah.
And where we differ in Dry Creek is that we definitely get, by then in Dry Creek, it's in the mid 50s. So at night in the summer. So I do think that's the big challenge. Has anybody made Barbera?
No.
We made the highest
vintage.
acid red we deal with.
Right.
And I think that most people deal with. So, when we're looking at Barbera, let's say the Barbera is at 25, 26 bricks, it's at 2.9 pH, 2.85 pH. So we're waiting for the pH to come up just so it'll go through our mouth.
Well, so you're not even trying to put those grapes in your mouth because otherwise you want your enamel on your teeth.
When I'm sorting grapes or when you're sampling grapes, you have sores in your mouth from the acidity.
It was always just such a struggle because it would just lose what it was so beautiful about, you know? And, and that was the other thing, is the acid was so high, and then it was like, well, maybe we should deacidify it, and then you've infected the wine.
Yuck.
Right?
Like, God, you guys are perfect shills, Bart. When in 2003 we planted Barbera in 1998, and we also got the plant material from Nova at that time. And we made a Barbera in 2003, and our first winemaker, Sebastian Pochon, tells me to come into the cellar and taste the Barbera. He goes, I think we need to consider deacidifying it. And I taste it.
Deacidifying.
Yeah. And I taste it and I go, I think what we need to do is taste some more Barbera from Italy, because this is the groove, man. If we can, the challenge with Barbera is you got to have, this is our Barbera Normale. We make a Superiore. It's more concentrated than this, but you have to have enough fruit concentration to offset that, what you know is going to be a low pH, high acid red, a legitimate high acid red wine.
This is 3.4 pH, 7.3 TA.
And that's after ML. So,
if I could whistle, I would, but I can't.
And
there you go.
So for me,
Got you.
If we didn't have the concentration, then this wine might be, it might be driven toward not as interesting.
Yeah.
But I think like I said, the challenge here in California is you're dealing with pretty high sugars, and they do too in Asti and all, but especially in Asti, and now the sub-region in Asti and Monferrato called Nizza, which is a DOCG, or Barbera de Asti Superiore. Those wines are in the 15s. I mean, that's just the way they are, to get them to where they're more full-bodied, and they're trying to create a wine that can compete with Barbaresco and Barolo, because they don't grow Nebbiolo in Asti and Monferrato and Nizza.
I've never had an old Barbera.
Well, so it's interesting. I got this. Well, my friend here, Ian D'Agata, invited me to a Barbera conference in Asti in 2016, and it was September 10th. So guess how easy that is for me.
Great time to
leave in September.
Great time to
10th.
fly to Italy.
Totally.
The rest of the team was stoked.
Oh yeah. I'm taking photos from Barolo. Hey, how's it going? I know you guys had just
Look where I went for dinner last night.
16-hour days. Yeah, exactly. So I went there just to meet Ian, because he's such he is the most knowledgeable person I've ever met by far on Italian wine, and he's a total savant, and
which might make him the most intelligent guy in the world.
100%.
So he's like, he has this disarming laugh, and he's unbelievably thorough. This book is the most comprehensive book on Italian wine.
I bet he doesn't know shit about French or Spanish.
No, he does.
I bet you.
It's crazy, because Italian,
nuts.
it's always the Achilles heel of Psalms, because there's just too much.
Yeah,
It's a black hole.
Yeah, you have to dedicate. He's lived there. He's anyway. So he invites me to this Barbera conference,
Sam.
and I'm like,
There's no pictures,
no
and
photos,
no charts,
0 photos. And
I'll wait for the audio. When's the movie come out?
exactly, it's pretty dense. It makes Drops of God look like a brilliantly exciting series.
Gallons of God.
Yeah, it's.
When I need subtitles,
It's
I'm gonna go half speed.
So anyway, he invites me to this thing. I'm gonna figure, okay, I'm gonna be there for 48 hours. I'm gonna go there, turn around, come back. I just want to meet him. He wants me to speak on our experience making Barbera here in California, and kind of California Barbera in general. So, now I have to go find out about California Barbera, the history of California Barbera. So I don't know if you're familiar, probably in California at least, the most renowned expert on Italian wine was a guy who worked in Sacramento, Daryl Cordy. And his family was Cordy brothers. And so I call up Cordy brothers offices, and I go, hey, this is Mick Unti. I want to leave a message for Daryl. And they go, hang on. And it's like, he's now in his late 80s, I'm sure. So they patch me over to him. He answers the phone, because I think he's just waiting for goofballs like me to call
Talk
so
about
he can
Barbera.
so he can go on and on about wine, which he's really good at doing. So I go, I had read about the Martini. I'm finally getting to your point here. I had read about the Martini Barberas from here.
From Monte Rosso.
Yeah.
From the 50s. And my dad talks about that, like one of his like aha wines was
Epiphany wine.
like a 50s Barbera from Monte Rosso.
Okay, so right on, Sam. So I said I'd heard about these Barberas in the 50s that Martini was making from Monte Rosso. And I said, I just remember when my dad would let me try a Barbera at home, it was like a really tannic, robust, full-bodied wine. And then we started making Barbera. Barbera has no tannin at all. It has only structure from acidity. And I'm like, yeah, that sure is odd.
So you were drinking Cabernet?
So he tells me, he goes, yeah, that's because they blended 50% Petite Syrah in the wine. That would explain it.
Checks out.
And, it's like, who else is going to tell me that information? I was so proud of myself for finding somebody who would actually reveal that, because he's old enough to know and he was into it.
Shatter my father's world with that
No,
information
you
later
can't.
this afternoon.
Don't tell him. Do
like
not.
those Barberas you loved?
Yeah.
You talk about all the time?
Oh, he's going to listen to the show.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That totally. I'm going to wait until he calls me. Saturday morning.
Put
He's in
down
his
the
Vader.
Clippers.
Yeah, exactly. He prunes. Well, pruning is over, but he listens to the show while he's pruning.
I love it.
And then but like on
that
Saturdays,
that is
and so
awesome.
I'll get phone calls
Very
and I'll be
modern of
like,
your dad to be doing that. That's
well, we'll take our wins where we can get them. But he'll call me and be like, "Do you remember what you said on this?" And I'm like, "I don't remember what I said
absolutely. Are
on
you
the show
kidding
2
me?
weeks
It's
ago."
like, yeah, right.
Like,
Absolutely.
but yeah, so he'll hear.
You should just tell him that's on you for paying attention to what I said. Because
Yeah, somebody
I
will-
just say it. It's like,
Exactly.
you want to believe it. That's on you.
So you have
Disclaimer.
alcohol and you have acidity, but you don't have the third leg of the tripod. You don't have the tannin to age. So
But
you
acid helps you age.
I do think so. We do another clone of Barbera called Clone 84, and we keep that separate. And we call it. I'm waiting to be served a cease and desist letter, but we call it Barbera Superiore. Go figure. And it does have a little bit of tannin. So it's a clone that comes from Torino that is reputed to be the most well thought of clone to be making more robust Barbera. Having said that, it's still on the lower end of the tannin scale. But I do think you're absolutely right, Bart, that whatever ageability Barbera has is entirely linked to the concentration of the wine, but the acidity.
Yeah.
I was going to ask what the difference between the Normale and the Superiore is, and it's just that clone.
It's we
No
started
difference in the
making that-
winemaking.
Yeah, we had to replant all of our Barbera beginning in 2018 because it has red blotch, like a lot of people are dealing with. Not every variety is susceptible. Like Vermentino says red blotch, smed blotch. It just grows right through it. Grenache is pretty resilient in the face of that as well. But Barbera, our Barbera at least, is really sensitive to it. And so we
Do you think maybe that's another reason that there's just not a lot of it?
All good questions. I think Barbera, it's thin-skinned, it's high acid, and the canopies for us aren't fully developed to necessarily protect those clusters in the face of really big heat waves.
Right.
So you can get a significant amount of dehydration with Barbera, which raises the sugar and raises the acidity, because you really need that with a wine that finishes pH at 3-4.
Yeah.
So I think it's just more troublesome in the vineyard. And because it's more troublesome, you can't charge enough for Barbera to justify the expense that you're doing in the vineyard to try to manage the canopy properly or whatever you have to do to kind of deliver on the grapes.
Yeah.
That's good. It's a really good question. It's a beautiful grape variety. I wanted it to be our highest volume red.
Well, and Italian varietals are kind of on the rise. People are curious and they want to try them, but
I think so, but I'm biased.
Mick, do you
I'm
guys
definitely Italian curious.
and I think Passo's planning more Italian
curious?
varietals. And
I'm curious.
Sorry.
so do you guys only farm in Dry Creek, or do you do farm in
we have 60
Alexander
acres
Valley?
on 2 different parcels. It's our stuff. That's it.
But it's only Dry Creek.
Dry Creek.
Yeah, okay.
And who you want to talk about your winemaker?
Jason Valenti.
Yeah.
He originally came through the Paul Hobbs system And when they started Cross Barn, he was the winemaker that was tasked with facilitating, ordering everything and getting that started. And then he got hired by this winery in Howell Mountain called Adamus and doing high-end Cabernet and had a consultant there. And I think Jason's just not, he was, I think he wasn't a good fit they wanted somebody who's going to be a little more,
Consulting like?
Correct. Or more, I don't know. I don't think it was a good fit. And so when we were looking for a winemaker in 2015, God, I interviewed we had 100 applications.
Wow.
And I interviewed 10 people. And
who was making the wines before that?
his name was Sebastian Pochon. And Sebastian was at a winery called Christopher Creek, and he bought grapes from my dad. He's French. He's from Montpellier, and he really loves Rhone varieties. And he helped us with the 2002 vintage, and really liked working with Sebastian. He's got a great passion for European wine. We do too. So we kind of had, we've always had more of a Euro focus, partly because my dad and I are just European wine enthusiasts.
Because that's what everything is, right? Like you don't have a cab, right? You don't
Correct.
have a Merlot. You're
Correct.
not. You're,
No Sauvignon
it's all
Blanc,
estate. No
no
Sauvignon
Chardonnay,
Blanc.
no Pinot Noir.
Yeah. But then you do have Grenache.
Correct.
Mourvedre.
You have Mourvedre, Syrah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, when I worked at McDowell,
Excited about
McDowell
this one.
had 50, or at the time it was 70-year-old Syrah and Grenache vines, but it was a clone of Grenache. It would be interesting to hear your thought on this, Sam. It was a clone of Grenache that was kind of like Grenache wasn't meant to. The people weren't growing Grenache to make the kind of wines that we all want to make here.
Right.
They were making either rosé out of it, or they were making everyday table wine out of it, and most of it was in the San Joaquin Valley anyway.
Right.
So you had these vines that even at age 70 were still throwing 10 tons to the acre.
Yeah.
And guess how they looked on the vine at harvest time? Some were green.
I was going to say, was there any red?
Yeah, that's very good question. And so we, for us, we felt like Grenache should do well here in California, and that's why we got the clonal material from Tablas Creek. So this is a wine.
That's delicious.
This is a wine that no one else makes here in California, and actually hardly anybody makes this wine in Italy too. So it's a blend of Sangiovese and Montepulciano, and it's 80% Sangiovese, 20% Montepulciano. All of our Sangiovese is Sangiovese Grosso clone, the clone that is supposedly from Montalcino. So it produces a darker, a little bit more full-bodied Sangiovese.
So, are you a Giants fan?
No, he's an A's fan.
Is he?
Very good knowledge. Brian is
that's
coming
good,
through.
Brian. Thanks. Yeah, well, I can't help but look at that blend name.
See Sergio Romo.
And see Sergio Romo.
My dad would be so excited because my dad loved, even though we are A's fans, my dad loved Sergio Romo's whole.
Well, you can let him run
whole
with that
behavioral pattern on the mound.
So, how do you say the name of this wine?
Segromino.
Segromino.
It's a town. It's a town near the
Oh, it
city of
is.
Lucca.
Okay.
It's just outside of the city of Lucca, and that's where my grandfather was born. So that's Untiville in Tuscany.
Untiville.
In fact,
I think it's around the corner from Caturiville.
yeah, I'm sure
we're,
it's
we're somewhere outside of Tuscany.
Well,
That's outside of
you're
Lucca
right
also.
on with it, Sam, because I can't remember. I think it was in 03 or 04. Rosa Martinelli, and at that time she was probably in her late 80s, and she comes in and she sees this label, and she goes to me, "Is that Segromino Monte or Segromino Piano?" Because apparently there are two of these little villages, and I go, "It's, as a matter of fact, it's Monte," and obviously you know where that is, since nobody's ever asked me that question before or since. And she goes, "Yeah, my family was from like 10 kilometers away." Yeah. And so a lot of the any of the Italian names you see that end in I, or not any, but most of them, in Sonoma County, Marin County, San Francisco, they're from the Lucca province of Tuscany. Yeah. So
Sebastiani.
I know, no doubt. Yeah. I mean, when my dad planted Sangiovese, I mean, I have to totally give credit to him, because he'd been visiting his cousins in Segromino from 1980 on. And he fell in love with the contemporary high-quality Chianti Classico producers like Fantodi, Falsina, Isole Elena, Castello de Ama. I got it. I mean, and at that time...
that was for his pronunciation, right?
Both.
So he'd be coming back from these trips, and I was just starting to work retail, and he's going on and on about Chianti Classico. And I'm thinking, geez, I'm selling Broglio and Ruffino. I mean, hopefully they're not listening. And it's like, those wines weren't that good. It's like, what do you mean? And then we started paying attention to Brunello di Montalcino. And so he really wanted to plant Sangiovese. So at that time in 1992, there's a 4-acre spot on the upper vineyard that's a ravine that cuts through my dad's property. And Jess Jackson, I had just started to work for Kendall Jackson. So Jess Jackson was more involved in the business back then. And he walked through the vineyard with my dad. And my dad said, well, I really want to plant Sangiovese. So, of course, if you ever met Jess, he was not bashful about, he wasn't lacking in confidence. So he said, oh, I can get you some Sangiovese. So he gets the Sangiovese from Childs Valley, from a vineyard in Childs Valley. My dad had no idea about the clone, anything about it.
Where's Childs Valley?
That's east. It's like near
like
Berryessa.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's a pocket valley.
Correct.
Yeah,
that's correct.
Where red and green is, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay,
Yeah, that's a perfect call. Anyway, so he plants this Sangiovese, and he's thrilled, but he planted it. You'll appreciate this on 110R rootstock. If you know anything about Sangiovese, I just got through saying that Vermentino and Grenache. Well, Sangiovese can put them all to shame. Could you
even walk down a row?
Yeah, that's right. So, but they're steep hillsides, and so we, the first few Sangioveses that we made the Chiantis I was selling in the 80s look good because they were, vegetal, light, easily oxidized. They were lower in acidity than what you get in Tuscany, and other than that, they were awesome. And so we had to learn from visiting Paolo De Marchi in Chianti, from visiting the winery is called Ciro Pacenti, but I visited Giancarlo Pacenti in Montalcino, from Vincenzo Abruzzese, who's the owner winemaker of Val di Cava in Montalcino, and almost to a person they would always look at you like, why would you grow Sangiovese? We have to grow Sangiovese because we're in Tuscany, but you can grow whatever you want. Why would you put yourself through that? And so then we started learning that if it's about sites, it's very much like you probably go through when you make Pinot Noir here in California. It's about sites, it's about crop level, it's about clones, it's about vine spacing, and if you do that in our Dry Creek climate, and I think Sonoma Valley would be a good place for it as well, and probably is, you have great results. But that's expensive, so you're employing vineyard strategies that should go into a pretty high-priced wine, but it's California Sangiovese. So you
Robert Kamen once called California Sangiovese sales-proof wine.
Sales-proof.
No one could sell it.
You can't sell it. It's impossible.
And yet, one of my favorite Sangioveses, California Sangiovese that I've had in a long time, was his 99 Sangiovese that we tried. I don't know, a couple of years ago. Yeah. It was fucking amazing.
Those wines are the ones that the ones that he made, and the ones that my uncle made with that like gold embossed round label. I think I have a couple of them.
That was Sangiovese.
There's a Sangiovese from there. It's unbelievable, those wines. Like
from
the late
Robert
90s.
Kamen's property?
From Kamen's property. Just when there was Sandra Vittoria was the label before it was Kamen. Yeah, mid 90s to late 90s.
And all those vines are gone.
All those vines are gone. Yeah.
Well, so now these vines that are planted to our beloved 110R rootstock, now they're 34-year-old vines on steep hillsides. So they make this.
Okay.
And the vines are in awesome shape because it is 110R, just like, all the old vine vineyards that are on St. George. The first 20 years, you got to farm the hell out of it to get what you want out of it, right?
Right.
But once you get past that, now the old vines start to perform because they're in good shape. They're kind of virus.
Before we can we talk about Montepulciano a little bit?
Yeah.
How much Montepulciano is even in California?
I think the last time I checked, Sam, it's like 115 acres total. We have 2.5 acres. We make 100% Montepulciano. It's one of our most popular wines. I would, if I blew this place up and started all over, I would plant much more Montepulciano. Yeah. It does exceptionally well. It's late ripening. It's a perfect grape for Alexander Valley. I'm serious. And it's late ripening. It's our latest thing to bring in. Aglianico and Montepulciano are the last two that we bring in. It performs well in a variety of soil types. It produces great tannin structure. It's got that earthy kind of Cassis Cabernet-like character, but it's a little more juicy in an Italian way than Cabernet. It's an awesome grape variety.
Yeah, no, that blend, it's got those super Tuscan characteristics, but not quite as over the top because it's not Cabernet.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I was always wondering because Montepulciano's from Abruzzo and the southern part of La Marche. It's not that far from Tuscany.
Yeah, right.
It's like, but of course, Tuscany embraced Bordeaux varieties long. They don't. I think on some levels
they were Italian. They didn't want to do what the neighbors were doing.
Absolutely, you just nailed it completely. Why would I do something that our neighbors do? Those bozos don't know what they're doing. Exactly. They've never known what they're doing, and I hate them anyway.
Exactly. Even if it was good, I wouldn't do it.
That's exactly right. I mean,
look at their flag.
Hate the people. Yeah, that's right. In a province next to you. No, there's no. I think you just. I say that's what I say all the time. I think there was this, built-in prejudice that Italians have for people that live in other regions,
other Italians
near them.
Yeah, don't get me started on Sicilians, right?
Oh no. So this is the wine I just opened is 100% Sangiovese from that original vineyard, but it's the West Terrace, so it only gets the intensity of the sun in the morning.
Right.
And Sebastian was the first one who said, hey, we should try to keep this section separate. We did in 2005 and never looked back. This is a wine that's definitely built for aging. Brunello's, the current vintage for Brunello now is 21. So this wine is more in that structural style of a Montalcino. So it's a little young. And I think like a lot of the modern Montalcino wines, this wine has, anywhere from 35 to 45% new oak. So, and it's noticeable, but in a year or two, you're not going to see it. And it's, to me, to make a Sangiovese that looks like this and has the structure that like this and has...
I mean, the oak doesn't show up as being oak.
Well, I appreciate you saying that because
texture.
You catch it on the nose more than on the palate.
But it's that alluring part of it.
And that's the thing that, to your point, I think that, an oak note on the nose, especially kind of on the front like that, probably fades into the background a little bit.
Yeah, this wine has not
even
been in the bottle for a year.
Yeah.
So, and one of my favorite Sangiovese based wines in the world comes from a winery in Chianti called Montevertini. And they make a wine called La Pergola Torta.
Yeah.
Sadly, about $250 a bottle now. And their wines show that early on too. Right. Yes. All right, so
imagine this is the one that when people stumble into the tasting room from some other Alexander Valley Cabernet house that
is what you put in.
100%. Yeah. Just knock their socks
off.
For
me, it's more of a statement because, when I got in the wine business, the most popular or well-known, if you will, Sangiovese in the late 80s, early 90s was Atlas Peak.
Right.
And those wines were not like this.
No.
And in fact, they were so much not like this that when Piero Antinori has that property, and this is how much Sangiovese he makes off of it.
Right.
So, zero. So,
it's not a video podcast.
Yes,
it's just
exactly. But I do think it's, it shows at least that the grape has potential here. But
yeah.
There's a master of wine. I can't remember his name. It's David Gleave, I think. And he was being interviewed about Sangiovese. And his statement really rings true with me. And that's he said Sangiovese makes Pinot Noir look like a walk in the park in terms of how hard it is to farm your vineyards to get
that.
Yeah.
And again, that's fine if you're, if you are able to charge the kind of prices that justify that.
Right.
So Mick, you mentioned that your dad runs the farming, you run the winery. You said you have a couple kids?
Yes, I do.
They have they must be of age that they're doing something with their lives?
Yeah.
Are you encouraging them to go get a job somewhere else?
No, I don't have to encourage them. I'm really fortunate that my two daughters are 30 and 28, and they're little smarty pants. And so my 30-year-old is a top engineer for an electric car company called Lucid, and the 28-year-old works for a startup lab in Berkeley that does CRISPR gene editing.
Wow. They are really smart.
Really smart.
So
I don't know any.
So my wife and I, whenever we have them over, and they're in the same room, and my wife and I are looking at each other like, okay, well, after that first sentence, we're lost. It's like no idea what's going on here. So to answer your question, we don't have that type of a family succession thing going on at all. It's a dilemma. I like what I'm doing still, but my dad's 87, and I think I don't even know what to say. I mean,
I wasn't looking for you to have an answer, but I was just curious, because even if they are coming into the business, that complicates it in another way, right?
Yeah. Plus, this, I never thought, I don't know how you guys approach your careers, but I never thought of what I'm doing. I just didn't think of it. I just, I just was doing it because I like it.
Right.
And my dad retired much younger than I am now, and he really wanted to do something. And we totally share a love of wine. And
if you could get to do something like that.
Correct. Right? Totally. So I totally appreciate the fact that I've been able to do this little business, and it allowed me to spend a lot more time with my kids when they were growing up. And I have a really great relationship with them today. And I'm probably would have happened anyway, but I think in some elements that contributed to it. So, my reasons for doing this were not just to have this Unti legacy. It was more just because it was there, and that's kind of all I know how to do at this point is wine stuff.
Well, and because you love these wines and you love these varietals and you want to bring them to life in California. And I think that's why you're supposed to make wine.
I totally, Danielle, I totally agree with you. I mean, it's not the most lucrative for your own personal financial wealth.
True.
Because ultimately, you're blazing trails, right? I spoke to Sonoma State, of course, has a wine marketing BA and a wine marketing MBA class. And one of our customers thought it would be a good idea for me to speak to the MBA class, right? So I'm standing in front of these kids and I'm going, yeah, I bet you guys want to be rich and famous yesterday. And obviously they asked me to come here to show you exactly how not to do that.
That you won't.
This is your wake up class today.
Yeah.
But you'll have more fun than
no. And I said
whatever you do.
Maybe you should go
MBA.
study CRISPRs.
Totally, do some gene editing. But no, I said if you
is that like an air fryer?
Want to do something that you love, how many people that
right
took a career path that they got frustrated with in their mid 40s,
right,
and
they ended up in the wine business.
Actually, I know a lot of those people.
Yes,
I just have to say, because I'm in the wine business. So.
No, it's true.
They all ended up here.
No, I think you're. It's so I'm not. It's like it is what it is. I don't think. I think that is what it takes, though, to do. I think no matter what, you're gonna see more Italian varieties made in California. There's just no way.
And more Spanish varieties.
Yeah, all of that.
I honestly think that Vermentino is my new favorite wine.
I appreciate that.
I do.
I'm right there with you.
I mean, it's, I've just been discovering it in the past couple of months, and it has everything that I like in it.
Yeah,
and you can get palate fatigue. I drank too much Sauv Blanc.
Right.
Yeah.
Where I think Vermentino, or no, I'm going to get on my soapbox about Vermentino.
That's what the
Where
podcast
I think Vermentino has a big edge over Sauvignon Blanc. A couple of reasons. In our area, our really cool microclimate of Dry Creek Valley.
We're talking cool, cool people.
Not Miles Davis cool, as opposed to temperature.
Birth of the cool.
So, everyone whenever I did pay attention to it, everybody who makes Sauvignon Blanc in Dry Creek Valley acidulates immediately.
Absolutely, you would have to.
You have to.
You would have to. I mean, when I'm making Moon Mountain Sauvignon Blanc, I mean, I have to grab it. If I want acidity in that wine, I have to grab it at 21.
Yep, or less.
Or less.
Right.
Yeah.
When I worked at Kenwood, we got Sauvignon Blanc from everywhere, right? Because we made 30,000 cases of it, and there were bags and bags of acid that would go into things.
Yeah. Right.
Like just bags of it.
Well, and here's the thing.
That's one. Go ahead.
I hate acidulating white wine because I feel like you can taste it.
I totally agree with
you. You can taste it.
I completely
and
agree with you.
When I first started making white wine and coming into the business, I was like, whatever, acid comes in a bag. Like, you want that. You want the fruit. You want the pop, you know? And then as I was making more and more, it was like, no, the white wine is the acid. It's where the acid is. And those flavors, the aromas and the fruit will be there. They will come. They're there. You just have to make the wine and you have to trust it.
I agree.
Yeah.
And the other thing about Vermentino, though, is that there's really very little tradition of Vermentino being made in a Burgundian or Bordeaux vinification method. So almost nobody ages or ferments or ages Vermentino in oak. So,
no, keep that out of barrels. That does not.
No. So in California, this is why I think I should be head of the Vermentino Commission of California.
I nominate you.
Is that, it'll do well in inland Mendocino County, here, Sonoma Valley. It'll do well in
VCC.
Napa. Nobody's ever going to grow it. But in inland Monterey, when you're driving the southern part of Monterey County in Greenfield, and, it's hot down there, and they have oceans of Chardonnay planted there. Vermentino would kick ass and take names down there.
It would.
In every, inland Santa Barbara County, inland San Luis Obispo County. So when the day comes when you see Vermentino grown in all of those AVAs, we as wine enthusiasts are going to have a better opportunity to witness how it manifests in that growing region, because the winemaking is much more transparent. There's not going to be oak involved. There's not going to be lees stirring involved. Right. There's not going to be ML involved. It's just going to be either mostly concrete or stainless steel, and that will. I think it's cool. That's what makes wine interesting, is when you can say, oh, well, over 5 or 6 or 7 or 10 years, you can say, oh, this is. I'm starting to see some patterns for what Vermentino is like in XYZ viticultural area.
Yeah.
And that to me, it's way more fun than having barrel fermented Chardonnay in every single region.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
So this is back to your honeymoon wine.
I'm actually surprised that we got Brian back with no white wines left on the table. I know we have guests. Actually,
and she's a lot.
We love her. She made our new spittoons.
Yeah.
Lori B. Pottery on Instagram.
Lori Buckley.
Well,
Lori Buckley. She's a ceramicist and a sex therapist, if I recall.
Oh, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah, that's why.
How could you forget about that?
Well, she was Tristan's customer.
I think that's how I originally knew her, and then she started, doing the pottery.
Wait a minute.
But she's.
Well, if you've ever seen,
I heard that. Did you guys hear that?
Who edits this?
He didn't know, but no one.
I don't
Thank
think
God. None of us are qualified. Clearly.
No, she just kind of went into how are things? Can I make more of this? Should I do this? Here's some packaging. Here's some things. Blah blah blah. And I'm like,
people want logos and people want handles.
That's what I.
That's the internet. That's what the internet's telling me.
And that was the only words that came out of my mouth. And so I said 4 words, and she said about 700. So then I got her settled.
Sounds like a great therapist, to be honest.
She settled in, and so I told her I'd be back in a little bit.
So Mick, let's another Italian
Welcome to the
variety.
Winemakers. We have Mick Unti of Unti Family Vineyards here.
Exactly.
Another Italian variety that is unknown here,
And
or
even harder to
virtually
pronounce.
unknown and harder to pronounce, that you'd like to see, that you think could do good here.
Well, I think
or
this
something
one-
you're betting on.
This one for sure.
Well, what do you
This-
guys do with your Greco di Tufo?
We don't make.
What do you do with your Falanghina?
Falanghina? We make into a wine
to the
called
white
Bianco del
Of
Campo,
course.
and we blend it. We have only less than a half acre of Falanghina, and it doesn't crop very heavily, so we can't make much of it. So we blend it with a vineyard block of Vermentino that we have on the benchland property.
Oh.
And so we do like a 60% Falanghina, 40% Vermentino. So we'll be bottling that. All of our whites and our rosé will be bottling the third week of April.
Okay, sorry.
So
I
when you
was
see it from us, it'll be
selfish for a minute there.
no. I think Falanghina has tremendous potential.
Yeah.
I think even Greco does. I was on a wine panel with Bob Bialy, and he has a Greco de Tufo from Napa Valley. We just chose Fiano because Fiano, to me, Ian says it in his book, and other Italian wine aficionados would say Fiano is one of Italy's great wine grapes, and it has more to it on its own than a Greco de Tufo does, and that's why we chose it. But it's not because I didn't think Greco de Tufo wouldn't do well here.
I just want to say that there's 11 pages of grape varieties in the index.
I
of
saw
that
you.
book.
I was like, "Are you making a video?" Because you have to flip
It's
through a
not
bunch
large
of them.
spacing either.
No, it's not.
No, that's a pretty small font.
Yeah.
No, actually, I'm trying to get Ian to come out here and sort of have a symposium with him and the folks who make Italian varieties in the Northern California area. Well, in California.
Well, when you
And-
do, you should invite him to come on the podcast.
I was about to say, I
God,
texted a
he's-
picture of all of this to one of my. He's been on the pod. Donald Moffat. He's an Italian wine specialist and saw him in DC. He goes, "Oh, is Ian on the show?"
yeah. I don't care about this guy, Mick.
Yeah, who
Where's Ian?
I didn't want to add that part,
no,
but
I'm
it
sure.
was implied.
Yeah. Believe me, it's a story of my life, so I'm very comfortable with it. No, but I think, so Bart, you just asked me. I was on a panel, Sonoma County, like different ag organizations sponsored a panel discussion at the fairgrounds about 2 years ago.
Uh-huh.
Or maybe it was a year ago. And the whole theme of the discussion was what are we as an ag industry going to do about global warming here in Sonoma County? And so Alder Yarrow, who writes for Jancis Robinson, was the moderator of this panel, and I was on it, and Randall Graham and Dan Petrowski and Gillian Handelman from Kendall Jackson, and a woman who really is very knowledgeable, Louisa Sawyer. She's Bob Lindquist's wife, and she makes Spanish varieties down there.
Yeah.
Those wines, I haven't.
Yeah, Verdad is the name of her.
Fantastic things about those
and she's
wines.
awesome. She's
Yeah.
really like totally solid. Anyway, so the end of the discussion was, okay, so what are the grapes that you think would be most appropriate for, or you would recommend in keeping with the theme of this discussion? And a couple of people mentioned Sagrantino, which is
Right.
from the town of Montefalco in
Which
Umbria.
there's very little of.
Yeah, and
around.
there's very little of it planted there.
Right.
It's only planted in Montefalco, and it's tiny because it used to be such a tannic grape variety that they only made it as a sweet wine.
Interesting.
So I think it's fine, but there's so much more. When it came to me, I said, well, okay, Sagrantino makes good wine, but I think the more practical option in California would be this grape, Aglianico, because this is 20. We're tasting at 22. I don't know if you remember
Yeah.
the second week of September in 2022.
I remember.
Yes.
It was a serious 112,
Yeah.
114 in our very
even in
cool
even in cool,
region
even
of
in
Dry
cool,
Creek.
even in cool climates. Yeah.
And, so, I mean, when you have that kind of heat wave, Cabernet is, running for the hills.
It's
right?
done. Yeah. No, I remember going out to the vineyard and saying, okay, this heat wave is happening. We need to bring our cab in. and calling Phil and saying, I need you to come drop fruit because we're picking tomorrow. And he came and dropped fruit. And I walked that afternoon and I said, why haven't you dropped this fruit yet? And he said, we dropped it. And so like within 4 hours, you're already getting more cab desiccating.
Yeah.
And so like, it couldn't, the cab can't handle it.
Yeah.
No,
which is why everybody should plant Grenache.
I agree. I mean,
Aglianico.
Believe me. No. I mean, I'm totally right. I mean, I believe that with Grenache too. And you know, in the face of that heat wave, Grenache takes it in stride.
Yeah.
You know, Vermentino, if we had it, we harvested it.
That's when it's in early September, right? Is that fair to say with Grenache? Like if it would have been late, Grenache would have.
I mean, it has Grenache has shrivel.
Sure.
It's not. I mean, no matter what, all the wine shut down because, we talk about the intricate wax patterns of inlets that go about the grapes breathing patterns and accepting different things from the environment.
We talk about
it.
That?
Melted. It melted.
Okay.
It melted and it shut, and the vine shut down, and it stopped ripening. But some grapes could still hang on a little bit, but they weren't going through. Yeah,
I got you.
Well, to give you an idea, we harvested this October 10th, of that year. And
what's your typical harvest date on that?
About that.
Right then.
So, you know, it's maybe the first week of October to that date. And I agree with you. Even, you know, not that we're not with respect to Grenache. When Grenache shrivels, it's a much more traditional, appealing aroma and flavor profile than when Cabernet shrivels. Right. So, you know, I urge any of you to go out and find a Gigondas or a Châteauneuf-du-Pape or a Vaccaras or a Rasteau that is under 15% alcohol right now. They're all over 15.
Right.
All of them.
And they have been for the last 15 years.
Exactly.
Well, and if they're under
right.
15% alcohol, it's because they're taking that 1% leeway on the label.
Yeah, right. Or they don't taste very good.
Right.
So I mean so the
or
thing is there is a, you know, when the term sur maturité comes from the Rhone because of that, And so I think even if you do have adverse conditions that cause dehydration in your Grenache, at least the wine you're going to make from it likely is going to be more in keeping with what you desire out of Grenache. On top of that, and I guess you could do this with Cabernet too, but we always blend our Grenache with Mourvèdre and Syrah. So those two grapes provide a little bit of balancing equalizer, kind of like Petit Syrah does for Zinfandel. Yeah. And so the combination of those things, to me, makes Grenache much more resilient in the face of that kind of condition. This is 100% Aglianico. So, and this comes from a 2-acre vineyard where we get not very much crop off of it, that we planted in 2013. And I'm telling you, I mean, this was a challenging year for us because of the dehydration factor.
It's delicious.
Yeah, it is.
And you're not getting any, I mean, I know that you're not getting any of that rum raisin, shrivelly flavor.
Well, I appreciate you saying that. Part of it, when you try the Aglianicos from Campania or the other well-known region for Aglianico in Italy is called Basilicata, and it's called Aglianico del Voltore. It's up in the hills.
That's Sassicaia, is that right?
No, Sassicaia is in Tuscany. That's in Tuscany.
What am I thinking of as the like sort of standard Bear Aglianico producer?
Probably Mastro Berardino, which is what Brian mentioned earlier. You know, so it seems like those producers have a shot at making a more a wine that you, like I said with Grenache, that you would kind of expect out of Tal Rossi. Tal Rossi is the DOCG that people call the Barolo of the South, because it does have these wild aromatics, and it does have the tannin, has high acid and high tannin, very much like what Nebbiolo does, only it's got much darker color. And you know, this will never happen in my lifetime, but you know, the people who are freaking out in Calistoga and St. Helena about a vintage like 2022, if they planted Aglianico there or in the Alexander Valley where we live, and you want to make a wine that's going to appeal to the full-bodied trophy hunter Cabernet customer, I think Aglianico is, I agree. It's worthy of a ding. Yeah. I mean,
it could be a contender.
Totally.
Yeah.
So my question is, being this is 22, and when I think of Aglianico, I think of super tannic wines that you wait a decade to open. There's certainly Italian producers.
Yeah.
Is this drinking better now at this age than previous vintages?
Yeah, I would say than the 21 or the 23 that we bottled. Yes, because of that hot heat. September, it's kind of pushed the fruit more to the easily appreciated or early appreciated style.
Yeah.
To your point about Sam, these wines that age forever. My first epiphany aha moment with Aglianico was I was with some friends in Newport Beach at this restaurant that had this kind of cheesy wine list that you looked like a distributor printed, and they never changed.
That's
items.
all of Orange County.
Yes, it's a classic Orange County. Very well said. And so I see, this is 1991 now. I see Mastro Berardino, Taurasi, Reserva, 1968, and I had only read about this wine. I'd never had a chance to try it.
And this is you're on the road with like in the Kendall Jackson days, or
no,
even
this
before
is
that.
even before that. I was working for McDowell, but I was with two friends of mine who also work in the wine business. So we're sitting there, and I see this on the list that they have the 68 Taurasi Reserva from Mastro Berardino for $40 on the wine list. So I'm thinking, I said, just like we are today. I look at him and go, I'm just going to order this wine to see what comes out, because there's no way it's going to be this wine, right? But for $40, who cares?
It's worth the gamble.
So it comes out. It's wrapped in a tissue paper. The server unwraps it, opens it, and pours this wine. And my friends thought I was a genius for ordering this wine. It was like 23-year-old Taurasi was living large on that day for $40
for $40.
So I mean, I don't think
you should have gone back into the cellar and bought the rest of whatever they had.
Back then, I wasn't even smart enough to do that, and I didn't even know. But you're thinking it's 23 years old, so it's been in this restaurant for how long, right?
Yeah.
And
15
and
years,
in Newport Beach,
more,
how many restaurants are storing their wines in ideal conditions? And the fact that it was that bulletproof. So yes, they do. Taurasi, they have the same aging requirements to qualify for the DOCG that they do in Brunello. Mm-hmm. So you have to age the wine in some kind of wood for 2 years, and then you have to age it in the bottle for a year, and you can't release it until the 5th year after the vintage. And
that's a moneymaker.
What's that?
I said that's a moneymaker.
Better be some subsidies that come with those rules.
That's why you never see those regulations in California.
Right, exactly.
That's an impossible.
Well, I was going to say on the whole climate change conversation, like at least we can add water,
No doubt.
That saves American wine.
No, you're absolutely no. It's called. I think the state of California, when they finally confirmed that that's okay, they said you're basically you're rehydrating. It's what was in the grape.
That's exactly what every winemaker in the 80s said. We're just putting the water that was,
well, just
dehydrated
when
out.
you add your acid, you just
mix
a little more water in, and a little more
that
water.
is totally true.
That tartaric, it takes a
more
lot of water
a little
to
more percent
Yeah, exactly.
get it fully.
No, that's true, and I
mixed in.
imagine some of that. It's an interesting point, and it would be an interesting
case study
question for somebody who is not, who might be making wine from France, because I'm sure that is going to have to be a consideration.
They're going to have to change
forward.
it.
Yeah, right,
They're going to have to change it because there's no way.
Well, I think probably
it's probably happening.
It's
Yeah,
definitely happening.
Probably happening.
I know a good friend of ours who says, "Oh yeah, you see these big old tanker trucks in the middle of the night, out by the water spigots. You wonder what's happening."
I mean, have you any of you guys ever been to the Hospice de Rhone down in Paso Robles?
Yes.
So I mean,
do I remember being at Hospice de Rhone? Maybe not. But I was there. I know I was there.
When did you go?
I went to the last one that happened.
22.
Yeah,
Yeah.
22.
Was there in 18?
Where the bionic frog force-fed Jeb Dunnick a string cheese.
Yeah,
So it's gotten a little more
18, 22.
creative since when. So we started going in like 2002, 3, 4, 5, and I can't remember, but I think it was and to your point about the 4 winemakers from Northern Rhone,
Right.
Yves Couilleron, Gangloff, and Viard. And those guys, I think they get a total of like 7 hours sleep in 3 days.
Right.
And anyway, so the Perrin family was hosting a panel discussion on all of their wines. And I can't remember which one it was. What is it? Francois and Jacques are the two. Anyway,
Yeah.
they're not brothers, or maybe they're cousins. Anyway, one of them starts saying, going on and on about how, we don't irrigate in the Southern Rhone and blah, blah, blah. So somebody has the wherewithal and the smart, the intelligence to ask after the panel, after his presentation, well, you guys have vineyards here in Paso Robles. Do you guys irrigate here? And he goes, oh my God, yes, it's a desert. And I'm like, okay. He didn't even hesitate. It's like, he didn't try to like make it sound better. He just went, what do you think? We think we're nuts?
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just pretty funny. I mean, I do think that's also, I don't know, how do you deal with conditions like that?
Like
in
22?
We have to water a little bit before that, and we don't water generally ever.
Oh, I think you water, you mist, you bring out the shade, you do whatever you can. I mean, we were in an oven for 2 weeks.
Right.
I mean, people had to bring their animals into the winery because they didn't have air conditioning, They're afraid they would die in their houses.
Right.
But I don't know if it's still not an ideal
You got to
situation,
water.
but you got to give it a chance to get through that system.
I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to be like, too bad. I guess we just don't make wine and we lose everything
Correct.
we put all this
Right.
effort into. It's
I
like
mean, the number
adding
one
water.
rule in sustainability is staying in business.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, but it's organic. You're adding water. It's
Yeah,
what they
right.
actually drink.
Right.
You know,
Right.
it's not.
It's got electrolytes.
This
It's
is
the
what
stuff
plants
need.
crave.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, for us, it was it's our learning curve. You
Electrolytes.
once you get burned by it, no pun intended.
Yeah.
You learn that you got to do whatever you can to get it through, especially a grape like this, right? So September 10th, we're not harvesting Aglianico. It barely,
halfway through variation.
It just went through variation. So and it's tannic. So if you harvest Aglianico and it's not ripe, you're gonna pay the price, or that it's not the right thing to do. So I mean, it is something that I think we in California sort of intuitively have had to learn over time. And I think it's something that they're going to have to do in Europe too.
Yeah,
I mean,
I think so. I definitely think that they're going to have to start irrigating. They're going to have to start adding water. They're going to have to change. I mean,
You have to change,
unless
just have to change the rules.
and you can't make.
that's right.
The thing is like occasionally something in the winery will go through and end up 16-17% alcohol.
Occasionally it'll dry.
Occasionally it'll go dry, but that's not normal.
No.
Like you can't.
Yeah, right. You're going to have sweet wines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're either going to have sweet wines or you're going to add water.
Yeah.
And I mean, personally, I don't like drinking sweet reds.
No. When they're called port, I don't mind. But
Well, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it's
Great. Thank you, Mick.
I love this wine.
Why don't you, a couple things. Let's talk about the winery coming to visit. How do people find you out there in the world? You said you have no wine club. What do you do special? What do you guys like to?
I mean, sadly, like Denny's, we're open 7 days a week for people to visit us. So you make appointments through our website. It's pretty simple.
Drop-ins, okay?
And drop-ins. It's the mantra of 2025 and 2026 in wine country. Every single winery has a little sign out that says walk-ins are okay. And we so that all of you can visit the winery pretty easily through any of those means. We have a mailing list. So when you buy wine from us and you so desire to be on our mailing list, I send out, an email whenever we release something, or kind of, now we send out more of them than we used to prior to 2020 and 2021. But we have a highly, highly personal approach to communicating with our customers.
Awesome.
I write all the material, and it's my wife who has to format it and professionally design it into an intelligent looking email, would say that most of my references are not necessary. and
a lot of passive voice.
Well, or but
No, he's got a communications degree. He knows how to write. He knows how to write. He doesn't know how to make money.
No,
So he knows how to write.
I guess I'm just talking about myself.
So usually I write something that's going to be applied to, that I can somehow connect to wine. And one time, my favorite singer-songwriter from Texas is Larry McMurtry's son, James McMurtry. He's awesome. And I said something about how he's my favorite singer-songwriter, the best singer-songwriter from Texas. And I sent it out to our mailing list. Within a day, I get a blistering email back from this customer from Austin who says, Townes Van Zandt. That's all he said. Right? And I send him a note back and I go, absolutely, you're right. I forgot about Townes Van Zandt. You're absolutely right. And so then Danae and I go to Austin. I can't remember, to do a tasting. There's a really great wine shop in downtown Austin called Austin Wine Merchants. Yep. Go figure. And so I go to do this tasting. We have a pretty big mailing list. So whenever we go do a tasting someplace, they send a note. Danae sends a note out to our mailing list, and they show up because I never go there. And so we're walking in, and people are waiting for us, of course. And this guy sees me, and he goes, "Oh, it is you." And he runs back to his car, and he gets this brown bag, and it has two books. It's the Townes Van Zandt story and the Guy Clark story. And he pulled out a bag, and I look at Danae and I go, "These are our customers." Yeah, I mean, how many wineries have these kind of customers?
Yeah.
So
That's awesome.
So we have our mailing list. We communicate that way. Our customers totally appreciate that. Danae does an awesome job of making sure that it's legible and beautiful, and that's it. I mean, I have so
Perfect.
many reasons not to do a wine club because of the logistical challenges of shipping and the communications you have to go back and forth when somebody's not home. We make, as you can see, I mean, we only scratched the surface of the number of wines we make.
Yeah.
So
How many SKUs is it?
it's 16,
16?
15 or 16 for a 8,000 case a year winery.
That's very reserved these days. 16's.
Yeah, if you're so I mean, you came in like Brian and you only wanted our Vermentino and Fiano, and I start sending him a bottle
Right.
of Sangiovese, and he's like,
Right.
"Well, that's not why I came to Unti."
Right.
So for me, there's, we don't make very much of any of these wines. Like this is 175 cases. Sangiovese West Terrace you had is 175 cases. So we have a Fiano's like 300 cases. So they're little lots, right? So I want to make sure that customers really want it and stuff. They are the ones who order it. And I don't want to make somebody mad for running out of it if I send it
It's awesome.
to somebody who didn't want it.
Good.
So,
All right.
UntiVineyards.com.
It is.
correct.
Yeah.
UNTI, just like it sounds.
Yes.
It's nice of you to say that.
Hopefully you don't need us to spell vineyards for you.
Right.
Maybe.
But it is S, Vineyards.
Vineyards.
Yeah.
I have to say that when I first moved here, whenever I was at a restaurant, I knew that if an Unti wine was by the glass or by the bottle,
Yeah.
that I was going to get that wine and I was going to enjoy it.
That's really unbelievably nice of you to say
So,
that. It's a hard, it's like, we've been in business for, 28 years, 29 years now. And, because I did work at a larger winery, and I knew how hard it was to manage distribution through wholesale distributors of a brand that they had to have. I knew no one would care about our stuff. So I started selling it direct myself in 99 and 2000. And fortunately, that's how I met Sandra, right. I mean, it's how I met a lot of people that
It's always at El Molino Central too, right?
Oh my God!
Yeah.
I knew somebody was going to
Okay, so
mention
that's
it.
where I've
100%.
That's where I was introduced to
It's the
it.
rosé there, I believe, right?
Well, now the
No, it's
Grenache
the
is
That's
white.
the Grenache there. Okay.
So my wife grew up in that neighborhood, and she's
Oh.
friends with
Yes, she did.
she's friends with Karen Taylor, the owner.
Yeah.
And
So I lived a block and a half from there. So
Yeah,
I
you're
would
lucky.
walk with
Yeah.
my dog
You
over
got
there,
it.
and we
Yeah.
would eat, and we
Yeah.
would get an Unti wine.
it's I mean, it's one of my proudest placements, and it's not even me who made it; it's my wife who made it. So and I can't tell you the number of people that come into our tasting room and go, I can't believe you're at El Molino. And I go, you better believe it, brother. Yeah.
Okay, first of all, that food is delicious.
It's amazing.
It's fresh.
Yep.
It's inventive. And I mean, it's a little expensive, but what food is not
Yes,
these
exactly.
days?
If it's worth eating,
That
they do a
place
great
is
job.
amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
But so, I mean, what you just said, and I really appreciate that, Danielle, is that's part of it. I started getting distribution in EOS down in San Francisco, Boulevard, Delfina, By-Right, some of these places that ultimately those folks then would come up and visit us, and then sort of, it takes a while. It's a slow burn. It's not the most contemporary marketing strategy to
you're in it
wait
for the
25
long
years.
run.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's okay. If we were growing in volume, everything would be different. But
Right.
so we're not.
Yeah.
you got 60 acres. That's all you got. Some years are good. Some years are better. Right.
Right. Believe me, it's like
Blending.
With the grape market being as vibrant as it is right now, just like the climate in Alexander Valley is what it is.
Cool.
But so now
Super cool.
when during shelter in place, we started, everybody's just buying wine like crazy, right? Our mailing list is like unbelievable. And we make 2 declassified table wines out of all the Rhone varieties go to a declassified wine called Petit Frere, Little Brother, and all the Italian ones go into that don't make it into any of these SKUs.
Yeah.
They go into a wine called Rosa del Campo. And in 2020, 21, 22, people are just ordering those wines like crazy. And I was always worried, it's an interesting, see your opinion about this, but I was worried it would cannibalize our other wines because we're selling them for less than what we sell our other wines.
Yeah.
But, it's like a little presumptuous to think that our mailing list only drinks Unti wines, right? So they drink other people's table wines at that price. So they might as well drink ours. And so when my dad had a hard time, go figure, selling Syrah in 23, 24, 25, we just told my dad, hey, don't. We'll just make it.
Right.
And even though we're going to sell it for less, but it will, in the long run, the total of us making it into a wine and selling it at that price
Makes
is
more
better
sense.
than A, not selling the grapes,
Yeah.
B, selling the grapes to somebody who can't pay,
Yeah.
or selling it at such a low price that it doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So
Well, people that would buy 4 bottles and then they have that wine and they say, well, give me 2 of those also. And then it's a 6-pack.
you are a marketing genius.
I'm not. I'm just, I
no,
do
no, so-
observe.
No,
I do
we
observe.
did. And it's a hard thing because during shelter in place, we went from 10% on a case to 20% on a case to make it easy for people to get to a case because that's a more cost-effective way of shipping.
Right.
And we kind of have never gone back. So what people do is I'll have 6 bottles of that and 6 bottles of these other wines. So, real
Awesome.
brilliant marketing.
Brian, you have any more questions for Mick before we sign off?
Brian isn't.
He wants to know where the Fiano is.
He already took care of himself. Don't worry about
stealing
that.
more of the Vermentino, actually.
Well, Jasmine just texted and said, "Save me some." So we're gonna have to either hold.
Well, and I texted Tristan and said, if you have a moment today where
Okay.
you're not out selling wine, if you and he was like
Selling Italian
he-
varieties, come
I
drink
think
some
he said,
California
the
Italian
man
varieties.
is there.
Who?
Tristan used to work for us. He's did his master's in Italian food and wine, speaks fluently, loves Italian varietals, and now he left us to go work for a company and he's selling Italian
Oliver
wines.
McCrum.
Yeah,
Oh,
I know
from
Tristan
McCrum.
very well. I've done. I was supposed to go.
Of course you do.
He was. Well, no, he talked to me.
He
when
made
was
sure of
doing,
it.
when he was doing his.
Stalked you?
He-
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
So he has come up to these tastings that I do with Dino Bujica at Pasta Sciutta I'm doing one tonight on Friuli, Lombardia, and the Veneto. And Tristan's come up for at least one of those, and he just invited Dino and I to a tasting at A16 on Monday that was for Paolo Bea, which is an iconic producer in Montefalco or in yeah. And of course, Dino and I completely forgot. So my last communication with Tristan was, "I'm really sorry. I'm sure you only had a few seats for these, and we just hogged."
I'm sure there were people there.
Yeah. So, but anyway, that's cool. He's a really, really sincere, genuine. I can say this young man.
Yeah.
So talk to me about the tastings that you do at the restaurant on your shirt.
I appreciate you asking. That's why I did this today. It's really cool because Dino is, he's such a good friend, and he's so talented in Diavola. If you've ever been to Diavola, he just has this intuitive feel for what makes food representative of Italy and interesting from Italy. He worked there for 10 years. Sonia, his wife, who's from Colle dell'Uni, and she was born and raised there, has a tremendous feel for food. The pasta here is ridiculous. She makes focaccia every day. That is Ligurian focaccia. That's outstanding. So we do these tastings because Dino, I don't think he's ever really had an opportunity to work with somebody in his own restaurant who is as nuts about wine as I am. So we're trying to do these tastings that are focusing on regions of Italy, and it's so easy to do because there's so many. Even you could focus. You could do.
You're not going to run out of material.
Yeah, you're right. You could do 5 tastings on Tuscany and not do Chianti or Vino Nobile or Brunello di Montalcino. So we do these sort of themes. Like this week it's northern Italy. Next week northeastern Italy. Next week it'll be the Alto Piemonte. So it'll be Gemme and Vespolina. A guy named Steve Ventrillo. Did you ever meet him? He sells wine wholesale in Sonoma County.
So these are Wednesday nights?
Wednesday night from 5 to 7.
And
5 to 7.
No reservations. $20 a person.
And
you
just
get to
it's a
taste
sit down tasting or walk around tasting?
It's a stand-up tasting around a pasta table. It sometimes becomes a little crazy.
This is what we need more of.
I know.
And is there food, or
Yes.
and
So
you just
he
drink
makes
so much
them-
you sit down and eat
You
at the
don't even
restaurant?
sit down. You stand up, and they bring out whatever I can't remember what he's doing tonight. But he does, like when we did Nebbiolo, he did agnolotti. So it's that. And just like you said, in Italy, it's so easy to do regional cuisine with regional wines because that's what Italy's all about.
And they become can't miss pairings.
Totally, because they've been, they've been tested.
thousands of years of
and no, but I
testing
really
in the
appreciate you
field.
asking because it is.
Well, I'm asking because I want to come. So.
Yeah, wait a minute. And so I assume he serves these wines in the restaurants.
He has them. He sells wine retail out of this shop.
That's
so
where I was
Diavola
going,
is
yeah.
the restaurant,
Right, and that's the shop.
Pastasciutta is the bottega next to it. That is just like walking into an Italian market
Okay.
if you were in Italy. And they have great cheese, great pasta, fresh pasta, meatball. I mean, really beautiful prepared foods.
As we
And
roll
this is
into
in
like
Geyserville.
12:45, this conversation is fucking brutal.
It's terrible. It's brutal. Yeah.
So I've seen it there. I've been to Diavola before, and I've seen it riding my bike by. But usually riding your bike through the cool climate of Alexander Valley early in the morning. So it's not
Never going to
open.
live.
You're right.
I'm only going to refer to Alexander Valley with that preface from now on. So I mean, and so it's
Rebirth of
it's
the
kind of
call.
like what Brian just sort of implied. It's not formal.
Yeah,
you
it's
can't
awesome.
make reservations.
Good.
It's $20 a person. I'm trying to talk about these wines while everybody's yelling and screaming. It's not.
Sounds
It's not
amazing.
the most.
Well, the important
prim
thing-
and proper way of learning about wine, but
We're over that.
It's attracting a really diverse local population who
Yeah.
just kind of use it as a Wednesday night date night out.
Yeah.
For an hour of learning
Everybody
about wine.
needs more of that.
Yeah, no, I mean it's. I remember, God, who's the woman who writes for Jancis? Sam. What the heck's her name?
Elaine?
No, Sam. She's up. Samantha Cole Johnson.
She's up in Oregon.
Yeah.
And she was talking about, because every conference you go to about wine anymore, the first thing that comes up is, what are we going to do about declining consumption and sales and all this kind of stuff. And she pointed out that, in 2002 or something, that the amount of time we spent on an electronic device was like 2 hours a week.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of time we spent with other people was like 7 or 8 hours a week. And now in 2022, 2023, the amount of time we spend on an electronic device is 10 hours a day minimum.
Yeah.
And the amount of time we spend with other people is like 2 hours, 2 hours a week.
Right.
So this is an opportunity to kind of have wine be the way it's supposed to be, which is a conversational thing.
Social.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Wine is fun, everybody.
Yeah, it's supposed to be. Yeah. All right. Thanks for.
If you've made it this far into the podcast, clearly you already agree.
Do you guys have any announcements?
Big announcement.
Of course. Go right ahead.
This includes you on this one. It's not just 16600 related.
That wasn't.
We got a text message yesterday from our friend Ryan Woodhouse, who was on the Sorbet show. He's the domestic buyer at KNL.
Yeah, I know Ryan.
And so we're doing Sorbet LA in May at the Culver City KNL.
Awesome.
However,
is that where he is?
He's everywhere. I think he was in New York last week.
Awesome.
We were going to do it May 3rd. Apparently, Taste of Culver City is May 3rd. So we're now doing it May 2nd.
So instead of Sunday, it will be Saturday.
Saturday, May 2nd. Sorbet LA. I wanted to make sure.
What is that?
So Sorbet is the Sonoma Organic Regenerative Biodynamic Educational Tasting, started by Morgan Twain Peterson, Katie Bunchu, and myself last year.
Nice.
So far, it's only Sonoma Valley wines, although we're talking about expanding as we move forward. But it's we did a tasting last year at Fort Mason, sold it out, 250 people, reasonable, relaxed pricing wise, and only organic, regenerative, or biodynamically grown wines in the room. And
that went on to a group of people interested in learning about growing gathered, and there was a field day at
actually there's
Bedrock,
one happening right now,
and there's one happening right now. A field day at Bedrock and at Abbott's Passage. Yeah.
So
kudos to you guys, Sam.
Thank you.
So where is it going to be in Culver City?
It's at the KNL Wines in Culver City. Okay. We're taking.
They have a space big enough.
We're tenting the parking lot, and taking over the parking lot for there's 2 sessions, a 12 to 2 and a 3 to 5 or something like that. And ticket again, $60 a pop kind of ticket, and
it'll now be on
Saturday, May 2nd.
May 2nd.
And
so you won't be too tired for work on Monday anymore.
Yeah, I'm tired just thinking about it. And 20 so producers, and again, every wine in the tent will have been farmed organically or better.
Oh, cool.
So
shoot, cool thing. Whenever you do,
when we expand, you're on the list for sure.
I'm actually going to be down there. That's my anniversary. That's
you
our
should
anniversary.
Come hang out. I'll get you a ticket.
What's that?
I'll get you a ticket.
I might.
I'll put you on the list
because my wife will be at.
You want to pour my wine for me?
My younger, I might. My younger daughter's getting married at the end of May, and so her mother-in-law is having a shower for her. So my wife is going to that, and I'm going to be either body surfing in Orange County, or I could go to that.
We'll do both.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Why limit yourself?
All right.
Go pour Dane Cellars.
No, not right now.
We got things.
We got things, but I'm
all right. Stay tuned for Bart and
that,
Danielle's
Wine Club. Wine Club is coming.
It's coming
because we will figure those out soon.
I love that.
Knock on wood.
That's what we
knock.
Drink more Vermentino.
Well, no. Hey, thanks. In all seriousness, which is hard to do with this group.
It's actually called out.
Thank you very, very much for having me.
No, this was these wines were great, and this was definitely a show we've wanted to have for a long time. So I appreciate you coming down to
if you
our
have
end of the
people
county.
coming to visit, from Italy, in your web
for
of
sure.
people, bring them on down.
That's excellent.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening. Like, review, subscribe.
Danielle's always with the hard close.
These for closers.
Bye-bye.